What if everything that's holding back your leadership, your vision, your power, the very fire inside you that's meant to change the game, is not what you think? What if the real secret sauce, the overlooked, underestimated muscle of every great leader isn't grit or charisma or even raw intelligence? It's something that feels almost invisible right now, but once you understand it, it'll shake the entire way you lead, create, decide, and influence. This something is cosmopolitanism. And not the fancy word you might toss around at a dinner party, but the deep, tough reality of leading as a citizen of the world, beyond borders, beyond comfort, beyond the chains of legacy thinking and hollow traditions. You're probably exhausted by the usual leadership advice. Be confident. Build your network. Keep innovating. You've done it all, yet there's a gnawing feeling, like something vital is missing. You see leaders around you rise, fall, or just spin in place while the world keeps pivoting faster than the last headline. You feel the pressure. Markets are global, stakes enormous, loyalties fragile. How do you break through the noise when everything, from culture wars to digital divides, is shouting at you to pick a side? When the world demands you to choose your tribe, but that choice feels like a trap? That feeling of being boxed in, it's real. It's painful. And it's stopping you from being the leader who reshapes everything. This is where cosmopolitanism, the genuine kind, dances into view. Not just as a buzzword, but as a fierce leadership trait that flips the entire narrative. It's the ability to own the world as your playground and your battlefield at once. To look at differences not as fences that separate, but as forces that multiply your power. It's more than just understanding different cultures or markets. It's about deeply embodying the idea that no single place, no ideology, no comfort zone deserves your ultimate loyalty. Your real allegiance? To your own relentless mission to create, disrupt, and forge what's next. To think and act beyond borders, political boxes, or legacy systems that were designed to keep the strongest in chains. And here's the catch. Cosmopolitanism is criminally underrated. Why? Because most leadership models were born in silos, built for conformity, and sold on the comforting lie that success comes from mastering just one context, one corner of the map. But you're not just anyone. You refuse to be soft enough to play it safe. You know the world isn't waiting for your approval. It's spinning fast, brutal, hungry for the few who dare to break out of their pigeonholes and lead with a view that rises above the chaos. Cosmopolitanism, radical, unapologetic, real, is the trait that gives you that. It's the trait that cuts through tribalism. It's what lets you harness the wild, unpredictable power of multiple perspectives, cultures, networks, and realities all at once. How do you get there? How do you make cosmopolitanism your leadership superpower? First, you stop playing by the old rules. Forget what you were told about loyalty, about patriotism, about the safe path. Those ideas are national myths packaged to keep you small, comfortable, and easily controlled. True cosmopolitan leadership questions everything. You start seeing systems not as unbreakable walls, but as puzzles to solve from different angles. You learn to decode cultures like languages instead of barriers. You seek out friction, not comfort, because friction ignites growth and reveals blind spots no one else dares to tackle. Second, you align with the few. The rare few who burn as fiercely as you do, no matter where they're from. This isn't networking as usual. It's hunting for connections that are not convenient, but combustible. Collaborations that light fires, challenge your assumptions, and smash the tired status quo to bits. Those others, those comfortable in their tribes, will laugh. But you know that the fuel of true progress is rarely found within easy circles. It's forged on edges, at the intersections of difference. Third, you embrace discomfort like a lover. Cosmopolitan leaders don't shy away from conflict, confusion, or crisis. They walk into it. Because that discomfort is the birthplace of transformation. The ability to absorb divergent worldviews, to see mistakes as data, to evolve constantly instead of collapsing under pressure. That's the heart of cosmopolitan leadership. It builds resilience no book or seminar can teach. It's lesson after harsh lesson that images and slogans can't capture. These strategies aren't just high-level ideas. They translate into massive practical power. Imagine making decisions with 360-degree insight, seeing ripple effects before they even begin. Think about building teams that pull from diverse experiences, breaking echo chambers and creating combos of talent that blow traditional models out of the water. Picture negotiating deals across continents, cultures, and mindsets with fluid ease, because you understand not just words, but the unspoken cues and history underneath. The world is no longer a threat or a tangle, it becomes your dynamic asset. But with power comes responsibility. Cosmopolitanism demands something hard: authenticity and clarity above all. In a sea of voices shouting for compromise or tribal loyalty, you have to hold fast to your true mission, your fire. It doesn't matter how global the context if you lose your edge, your vision, your sovereignty. You must lead with the fiercest version of yourself. No code switching for comfort's sake. No watering down to belong. Instead, an unwavering commitment to becoming who you really are, refined and battle-tested by the world's toughest realities. The world doesn't just want you to adjust to change, it wants you to redefine what change means. Cosmopolitan leadership is the only path out of the old cycle of comfort breeding mediocrity, false equality, breeding complacency. It's a revolution against the system that pushes uniformity and drowns fire in efficiency. You're not here to be processed. You're here to burn, to become a force no system was built to contain. Right now, the biggest risk is to keep playing safe, to pretend that national borders, industry silos, or cultural comfort zones will protect you or your future. They won't. Because the world is moving whether you join it fully or stay half inside the prison of yesterday's ideas. Cosmopolitanism tears those walls down. It liberates you, exponentially expands your impact, connects brilliant misfits like you across the globe, and transforms isolated conviction into unstoppable power. This is the kind of leadership that silences the cynics because it's unpredictable, raw, and real. It's leadership that burns through the noise, that's not satisfied with small wins or surface change. It dares to throw off legacy systems and creates new ecosystems from the ashes, ecosystems where freedom is practiced at every level, where difference is fuel for unity, where complexity becomes your tool instead of your enemy. If this feels like a spark inside, that tension telling you, yes, this is real, you're closer than you think to owning your full power. The system wants you to waste your fire on conformity. Cosmopolitanism empowers you to burn bright in a world desperate for radical transformation. It reclaims your sovereignty, sharpens your critical eye, and turns your vision into a force that doesn't just adapt to the future, but builds it. No leader had the future handed to them. The greatest ones ripped it from the hands of stagnation by breaking every unspoken rule they were told to follow. Cosmopolitanism is that radical rebellion made visible. It's not a style or a slogan. It's a lifeline to what leadership should be in a world that refuses to slow down or let anyone stay trapped in yesterday's version of freedom. So ask yourself, how much longer will you let comfort cage your fire? How much more impact would you have if your mindset wasn't tied to old borders or stale ideas, but open, fierce, and ready to transcend any challenge by using the world as your leverage? The future is here, raw and unpredictable. It belongs to those who think beyond walls, who connect not for the many but for the few who burn. Cosmopolitanism isn't a choice, it's a survival skill. The overlooked, underrated trait that will separate leaders who fade away from those who remake reality. It's time to stop waiting for permission, to stop living a borrowed life, to become not just a leader of one place or one people, but a leader whose influence spans continents, ideologies, contradictions. A leader who embodies the restless, powerful chaos of a new world. If changing the game means unlearning every comfortable lie you grew up with, then it's time to learn cosmopolitanism like your life depends on it. Because in this era, it does. Don't just lead. Lead like you're from everywhere. Because that's where true power lives. Beyond borders, beyond allegiance, beyond what the system expects. This is the leadership trait that will carry you, your mission, and those you serve into the future you were always meant to create, not inherit. The rare few don't just survive, they set the world on fire. Will you be one of them?